Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Rose. I'm privileged to present the VHealth webinar today. I serve as the managing partner of Vincents, but I'm also a Vincents business advisory director for those of you who I haven't met. And today we're really covering off on, our product VHealth, which is the fully integrated financial services solution for the healthcare industry. I think some of you who are working with our other directors are certainly aware of some of the things that we're covering today, but like all good things, and we talk about it a lot here at Vincents, is that we can't do what we do without the support of our team. And it's important for us to get that message across to you as our clients, that there's a much broader team sitting around the people that are directly doing your compliance work, and some of you have had the opportunity to meet these people, and there's a lot more, I guess, in terms of the integrated offering that we'd like to talk about today. So that's the usual disclaimer that we have in there. That's a younger version of me. So, as I said, we've got a broad range of people working within the health industry as clients of the firm. So, we understand that, there's a lot of things that you have in your day-to-day lives that really make it difficult to want to go and source services from a range of people. And, what we've tried to do here at Vincents is to, really ensure that it is that fully integrated approach with you, and it's not just about us, I guess, completing your income tax returns and financial statements. So we know that some of you are dealing with regulatory difficulties, dealing with government compliance issues, just advance in technology, just generally labor supply challenges, even just trying to source staff to do what you do. We're all dealing with the the technology and the aging population issue. So I guess in terms of what this offering really specifically looks like, and just so you've got a general handle on it, is that we break it down into a number of very key support areas in terms of the life cycle of your business. And really my aim for you today is to understand some of the things that you may be aware of already, and what they specifically mean, but more importantly, stuff that you're not aware of. So we're going to talk about each of those key areas today, and the sorts of things that are involved in those. I've got some special guests too that'll come and join me along the way, and people who are involved in rolling out some of these solutions. Again, some of you you have already met, and some of you you're yet to meet. So I've brought them along to talk a little bit about some of the key areas. I didn't bring along 9-10 people to talk about all of the stuff that's in there today, but we'll certainly mention their names a little bit along the way. So in terms of business valuations, I guess at the outset, regarding valuations, you don't really start up a business from scratch, really contemplating what the value of that business might be. But certainly along the ways, like in terms of borrowings, and certainly along the ways, and we'll talk about a little bit later about potential sale, is that understanding the key metrics that drive the value of the business can actually help you make different decisions along the way. So we've got a number of people in our areas, both in the business advisory and forensic area, that really can give you a clear understanding of some of the key metrics, make your valuation, and what that all means, so that along the way at any particular point in time, you've got a rule of thumb to go, hey, my business is worth this, as you either go down the path of looking at other opportunities with expanding of staff, and why you do that, and the impact that has on business. So again, team of people there that I identified. We also got a bunch of people that have the valuation accreditation with CAANZ. In relation to business sale, depending on where you are, within the whole, life cycle of your business, we've got a number of, people in this industry that are looking, looking to exit at some point in time. Now, there's a whole webinar series that I've done, in relating to that. But that whole planning process starts, a number of years out. You don't just start, 1 January and go, hey, I'm going to sell my business this year. Some of this thing, involves, at least 2 years of planning to ensure that, all of the things are being done in order to maximize the sale of your business. So, in terms of how we assist in that process, again, there's a 4-part webinar series that I've done in relation to that. But we can meet with you to understand what you'd like to achieve from your business sale, gather the information from you, investigate and analyze. So, like site visit, and provide you with options, agree, what services you need, and, we can make that happen. We've got, again, very specialist, pharmacy, valuation, people, as well as the team that that currently work on your stuff, that can take you through that particular product. Business improvement roadmap. I've got Yo Matanovic here. So Yo, if you just want to join me just to talk a little bit about the sorts of things that you do in this in the V-Health and its industry space, about business improvement.
So I guess we sit down with a client, work out what their end goals are, what they'd like to achieve over the course of 12 months, and then look at what systems and processes are in place currently, and where we could probably identify what we can implement to make things a bit more efficient, and give better quality information to the clients to make decisions, and to overall achieve their goals. So we'd sit down up front, work out what your goals and ambitions are for the year. It may not be monetary, it may be to spend a little bit more time at home, and then it's working out how we actually achieve that, and then what measures and what do we put in place to implement the strategies to achieve those goals. So there's a bunch of products that lead to improved reporting, that we can hold. We'll sit down quarterly and hold you guys accountable to.
Okay, cool. I need to make an appointment to identify how I can spend some more time at home. What does that look like in terms of what do you actually present back to them?
So in terms of what we present back is we generally engage with what's called a WITI, which is a what's important to you survey up front. It'll elicit what you're thinking. You may not have thought of some issues. What we'll do then is we'll sit down and talk through the results of the WITI, and then look at how we measure and test financial performance, whether we use KPIs or some sort of benchmarks, or we may have a target that we sit down and set, and then we report to those. So we use reporting tools like Fathom, Futurely. They're just a couple that we use.
Okay. So it's a dashboard style.
It's a dashboard style. We can set up a live dashboard so you can keep monitoring it on a sort of daily or more frequent basis. Whereas we'll use sort of other tools to produce a static report pretty much close to month end or quarter end, depending on the cycle on when we agree to catch up.
Okay, cool. And I guess I've got some people on today that from larger businesses. So I'm involved in strategic planning processes for those clients, centered around a text called Scaling Up. Bern Harnish, for those of you who haven't read it, it's a really good read, but really homing in on 4 key areas, and that's people, strategy, execution, and cash. So I run strategic planning sessions for clients centered around that too, in terms of those people who really want to escalate and take their business. We're talking about people with employee numbers might be 10, want to scale up to 40, 50. We're doing it here at Vincents with over 200 staff. So it's the same process that we use in our business to place that strategic planning piece in place for yours. Thanks, Yo. That's good. In terms of bookkeeping, you might as well stay for that, because you head up this responsibility as well. But we have a mighty team that can assist clients in relation to that area? We know that a lot of people spend nights and weekends doing that sort of stuff. So do you want to talk a little bit about this offering?
Yep. So in terms of this offering, this is, I think, quite a good offering. It buys your time back, essentially. Our team works with you to sort of, I guess, give sort of leading practice sort of bookkeeping. So they take care of, I guess, all your ins and your outs, essentially. So the way we manage things is approved invoices get scanned into a system where our team codes them up appropriately in the software we use. We use Xero as our platform here for our bookkeeping team. The advantage of using Xero is you've got, I guess, many add-ons that you can bolt onto it to, I guess, give you that improved reporting. You could also bolt on sort of tools that manage your income and feed into it. So again, creating efficiencies. In terms of what you get is the monthly reporting, and it dovetails nicely in with, I guess, your business advisory accountants if they're providing more of a tailored report for you.
Sure, and like in terms, so it's a monthly report delivery. Everything's reconciled, and there's not a lot of time that needs to be spent by clients in relation to that. And what sort of, just to give people some sort of, like maybe price range. Like I know it's a monthly fixed fee, but like price ranges for that, depending on the size of a business.
Oh, look, it can be anywhere sort of for a medical practice. I've got some that are sitting around the $500 mark a month. Depending on the volume of work and the transactions, that might pop up to sort of anywhere up to sort of $1,500 to $2,000 a month. But that is a very large business at that $2,000 a month.
Sure. And how many people have we got in that team?
We have 8 overseas, and we've got 3 here. So they're the forward-facing bookkeepers that I guess deal with all our clients. The data processing is done by our team in the Philippines, with all their work being reviewed here. And any contact being made by the Australian forward-facing bookkeepers.
Sure. So, and capacity to scale up where necessary around that.
Yeah, definitely. So it's quite easy. We do manage our onboarding process because we do have a bit of demand at times. It just means that we need to, get more of those forward-facing Australian bookkeepers, which we can easily find and add to the practice and continue to service.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Yo's a busy man. So in terms of taxation advisory, so we do have a specialist. I do have a specialist tax division that deals with a number of particular areas. But again, for people that are looking to get into business, we make sure that you are structured appropriately to start with. Particularly in this space where insurance risk covers you, to a certain extent, and then over and above that, you want to make sure that, things are, protected from an asset perspective, but also in the event of, sales that you're, properly structured in order to make change, make any, changes along the way that you need to, with the greatest amount of flexibility, and ultimately, obviously, to ensure that, any taxation impact, at the end of the day, is minimised. Coupled closely with taxation advisory team, is the superannuation advisory team. So for those sorts of things, it covers stuff like self-managed super funds. Really, dovetailing with your existing, director who looks after your day-to-day work. To come up with a structure and strategy. Again, taking into account your business, scenario and what's sitting there in terms of the business, as well as creating that, that piece so that you are well funded into retirement. And then, the things that people don't like to talk about is obviously, the estate planning, the estate planning part of stuff, which we think's important along the way, and other consultation services. So Brett Griffiths, from a business advisory team, heads up that business unit, and obviously some of you have some of you deal with Brett with your self-managed super funds along the way. New entity structuring. So again, through our taxation advisory piece that's run by Kim Reynolds alongside of the directors that are working out your piece. We sort of understand what your goals are, provide you with that tailored business structure, so that you are, good to go. So this is really at the outset when, you are looking to go into business. So some of you might be or have been previously employees in particular organisations, and you're ready, to go out on your own. So it's just really making sure that your risk is minimised and getting the most appropriate structure that you can, that will serve you well moving forward. Lending solutions. So I'm lucky enough to have Phil Ringway, with me today. I've been hounding Phil all morning, so he's still agreed to come and sit with me. So Phil, welcome to today. So again, some people have dealt with you, from our V-Health offering product, but just really again for people to understand, understand that the banks are still open for business.
Absolutely. The banks are certainly still open for business, and specifically so for medical professionals. We've really seen the lending landscape evolve, particularly for medical professionals over the last 12 to 24 months, with interest-only lending and investment lending also re-entering the frames. We're even seeing banks offer lending for medical professionals as high as 95% without even any lender's mortgage insurance. So they're certainly trying to buy good quality business, and they will provide funding for reasonable purposes as well.
Okay, so and these are all the different areas that you can provide lending solutions around.
Yep, absolutely. So our predominant lending type centres around that commercial and business lending, but with any small to medium business owner, your personal circumstances are very much tied in. So inadvertently, we're always taking care of your home and your residential lending needs. We can take care of your commercial lending, investment and working capital requirements, and then of course any new equipment that you require for your business, which may include things like pieces of particular medical equipment, new vehicles, or even fit outs that you require as well.
Okay, cool. And working hand in hand with you, and like literally hand in hand, we have Misha here today. So do you want to just pop on over, Misha, and just talk a little bit about what you do in terms of the insurance side of things when we're working with people?
Yep. So obviously insurance is one of those things that everyone dreads to review, but it's really important that we have a good understanding as to what insurance we have in place, because obviously you never know what's going to happen. So as my position as a wealth protection advisor, we get a really good understanding of a client's personal circumstances and review all their coverage inside and outside of superannuation, because most of the clients I do meet on a day-to-day basis tend to be either over or underinsured and don't actively manage their insurance, which is really important. So with my position here, what I actually do is I take away all the administration and all the day-to-day managing of their insurance, and I do all of that on their behalf. Each year, when it comes up for renewal, we'll conduct a full review to ensure that they remain adequately protected based on their personal circumstances, which is also really important. So we do all the heavy lifting. You don't have to worry about it. Once we do that initial process, then it's usually fairly easy.
Okay, and again, you're working hand in hand with the directors in terms of making sure that the appropriate coverage is obtained for the clients in that space.
Exactly. And by the time the client generally comes to see me, we would have already had a really good understanding as to where the client is at.
Okay.
So my process is a lot more seamless in relation to that standpoint. So.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you. So in terms of the continued things, we're starting to see more. I mean, we've all got parents who are aging, and we're seeing a number of our clients I guess come to us at their wits' end about really going through the motions and the process and the paperwork and the cost and the inappropriate paths that they're taken down in terms of solutions for aged care. So Kerry Darton, who works for us, has done some amazing amazing things for clients in that space, where anything from saving specific costs relation to aged care. I don't know, for those of you who have been through this experience, with your folks, you'll understand specifically what I'm talking about. But there are so many so much misunderstanding in relation to cost in relation to this area, and Kerry's done some great work with our clients to assist that. So, whilst, your parents may not necessarily be clients of the firm, you guys are, and it's an important part of, our service offering, to the, the health industry, that we've got access for this for you. Also, things that Kerry looks at is maximising government support. You think doing a tax return's hard, trying to complete documentation in order to, get the necessary care and support out of a government organisation, takes it one step further, than tax returns. And also just taking away, the overall stress by helping clients better understand, the different fees and legislation. So again, something relatively new for us, but something that we're seeing a lot more take up from. So and for us, a particular niche that we don't see quite often in accounting firms. After you've gone back, again, no one likes to talk about death or taxes, as they say, but this information is really what we find in situations where people pass away, is there's just a complete lack of understanding of where key documents and key information are. And you might think that probably all you need to do this way these days is if you've done a will. Like that's awesome. There's so much more to it. You're in the world of social media. You've got social media accounts. You've got logins for bank accounts. You've got the different aspects of health directives and powers of attorney and enduring powers of attorney, and executors and all those sorts of things. Insurances. So the After You've Gone pack really is just a compilation of really a key amount of information that can be provided to the relevant people, at the time that that it's needed, and it's all in one area without people having to turn upside down. Getting some really good feedback from people regarding the contents of this stuff, and again, it's really just about making sure that you're organised. And yep, there's a team that we have sitting in the background in terms of supporting it, but very simplistic piece of documentation that you can use to assist you in relation to that. So in terms of the people that I've talked about today, and we haven't really mentioned financial advisory, but the financial advisory is the whole wealth creation piece, and really the education around how to properly plan and fund yourself into retirement without some of the crazy stuff that a lot of you would have seen in the newspapers and the headlines. We're not into that sort of thing. We've just got a really quality team of people in that area, advising for your wealth creation and needs into retirement. So the list, I'm not going to read through it all, but there's the list. There's the list of the relevant people in there. Some of you will see the names of people who are currently taking care of you in relation to your businesses. But again, as I said at the outset, that we can't do what we do or provide the service offerings that we do to our clients without the key support of other areas of our business. And we're more than happy to help in any of those specific areas. So the type of people specifically in this industry that we're talking about: pharmacists, dentists, physiotherapists, GPs, psychologists, specialist practitioners, aged care professionals. We've got a very good stable of clients covered in those areas. So we believe we've got the expertise in order to properly support the stuff that you need, and obviously these fully integrated solution offering for you to cover off with that. So anything that you need in that regard, I'm more than happy to, field questions from people right now, that may have some questions coming through. Certainly get in contact with me, drose@vincents.com.au, but more importantly, the existing director or staff member, I call rock stars, but the staff member that looks after you, on a regular basis. And as I said, happy to open it up, to questions for you. But from my perspective, just hopefully that you get an understanding of the broader depth of the offering that we have, to industries within the in this particular healthcare sector. So, are there any questions? You can type in the chat box there. There's obviously the rest of the firm and what we do, but happy to field any particular questions that anyone has. Let's have a look. No, I can't see any. I can't see any questions coming through. So appreciate everyone attending today, and again, thanks for supporting Vincents. We exist because of you. We get a lot of recognition. Through the Client Choice Awards as being, the best accounting practice in the country in our revenue space, and it really comes from the fact that we've got some great clients and some great people looking after you. So, please let us know at any stage how we can improve that experience for you as well. My name's David Rose. Thanks for sitting through this today, and again, reach out to us if you've got any questions. Thanks a lot.